This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Joined by Arkansas head coach Mike Neighbors and student athletes Saylor Poffenbarger and Samara Spencer. Coach, if you give us an opening statement, and then we will take questions for the student athletes.
From the last time we played them to this time, the improvements we made, really proud. Sam brought it up in the locker room, how much we've improved. Cleaned up some areas that we were deficient in during the regular season. Tough environment to play in, a great environment in front of the crowd that is very pro-South Carolina. I thought for other than just a few little moments, we hung in there, battled. We certainly battled the whole time, but it's the best team in the country. I don't think there's any doubt about it. We've played a lot of the other ones at the top. So to have this type of performance from our kids this time of the year in this environment against that team, we'll fly home with a lot of pride.
We'll now take questions for the student athletes. Please raise your hand. We'll bring you a microphone. Here in the front first.
Saylor, you led your team in points and assists tonight, and particularly just as a freshman. Can you speak about what it means to lead your team and, I think where the future of your game lies?
I think with the team that we have, it's kind of hit or miss. I think everyone comes to play, and it's easy to play when you have good people around you. And I think that that's one thing that we're blessed with is we have a lot of really talented players. And, when one's not having their best game, another one has to pick them up. And I think that that's just been kind of our mentality all year. And I mean, you can't have assists without good players. So I think that that's just kind of, it goes back to being able to play with and being surrounded by really good people and players.
We're on the right.
Y'all, just talk about the game. It just seemed like all the shots were falling. And what's the biggest takeaway you can take from this game? Playing the best you could, just shots weren't falling today.
I'd probably say just that we fought hard from the first time we played them to this time. I feel like we had a lot more gut. I feel like we had a lot more grit. I feel like we just competed better this time around.
In the back.
We all know last time y'all went down to South Carolina, the rebounding was just really out of hand. But this one, you made it a lot closer. Will you just talk about how y'all battled on the boards today?
I think rebounding is kind of, when against these guys, it's a mindset. I think that you kind of have to go in telling yourself and coming together as a team and committing to at least trying to rebound. And I think that that's one thing that we did. We really tried. We tried as hard as we can. And I think we did everything we can and fought hard against the rebounds. And that's what you have to do to keep it even. I think that when we were down there, it was very obviously uneven. They had a lot of rebounds, but I think that that's the biggest difference is we committed to it. Like we came together today and we decided, it's hard to do. And I think that when we get some confidence and get some rebounds, it just kind of takes us from there and we can kind of keep getting those rebounds.
In the front.
Samara, one of your teammates yesterday said that you never lose confidence when you shoot. Can you talk about your shooting and just the confidence you had throughout this game?
It's all just a mindset, honestly. Sometimes when I do get down on myself, I have people around me who support me, my coaches, my teammates telling me, it's okay, keep shooting. So I just feel like having that support system and them instilling in me that it's okay if I miss a shot to keep shooting because eventually they'll fall, I think that's the biggest part.
Over here on the right.
Talk about how, with yesterday's game, with you going down, Matt going down, Chrissy with her wrist, just talk about the mindset coming into today's game and what really was the thought process into coming in today.
We could recover after the game, honestly. It's a tough task to say that we could go out there and beat South Carolina, but our main goal was just for it to be better than our last time that we played them. And I feel like if we did get an injury or if we were kind of hurt or hurting, the mindset was we can get treatment after. We can have that triage session after the game. Just fight through it all and get to the end.
Here in the back.
Hey, even though you guys were 10 or 34 from the three, was that a matter of them doing a good job defensively or just a matter of the shots just not falling?
I mean, if you watch the game yesterday, Chrissy makes a lot of those shots. So I think that that's just, like I said, we have good players, and sometimes some people have off nights, and it's our job to pick everyone up. So I don't think it was. I mean, they're great defensively, but I think that we got a lot of good shots. We got a lot of really great shots that we wouldn't take back. If we went back and watched film, we wouldn't say, oh, I wish we would have done this differently. I think we got the shots we wanted on our terms. It's just knocking them down. But I don't think that we had bad shots.
One more in the front.
I was hoping both of y'all could speak to the leadership of Michaela. Yesterday, Coach Neighbors had so many good things to say about her and what she had brought to the team in the huddle. And, where does she bring the team leadership, and where has that changed throughout the season?
At the beginning of the season, it kind of hadn't set into her that, she was one of the oldest people on our team and that she had to lead. But I feel like over the course of, us having our ups and downs and our coaches, having conversations with us yeah, Mac, you're a leader now, you have to step up. And then also, I'm really close with her, so just kind of having those talks with her, we kind of have to put everything that we're facing aside, and we have to lead, and you have to lead specifically because you've been here the longest. You need to be leading us. Just those conversations that I've had with her, and just knowing that people around her also trust her to lead us, I think that that's the biggest thing for her.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Mac is a great leader by example, and I think this year she had to take on a different role of having that voice. And sometimes when you do lead by example, you don't always think that you have to speak. And I think that for 4 years, Michaela has done a great job of doing everything she needs to do, showing everyone, setting the example. And I think that taking on a different role, that's tough, and still having to perform to your best, I think that is tough. But we all want Michaela to lead, and we all look to her. So I think that was the biggest thing, is our team just, when you're losing, everyone wants to kind of find something wrong, but we didn't have any. I think that we needed to look within and come out of our shell. And I think that that's the biggest difference, was we have a voice, a positive voice, and that's carried us a long ways now.
Coach Staley just said y'all are in without a doubt in her mind. Just how are you feeling about the chance?
I love Dawn. She's always out for the league. And I agree with her for this reason. If you look historically, the league who has had the number one overall seed, just look at what UConn does when they go from league to league to league. They always enhance the value of their league. So, she's played us twice. She's played everybody in the league, and for her to say that means a lot to me and our kids. We have battled. I know it's going to come down. It's going to be really close. I get that. But I think how we played today, we got this thing around our place called facts and film. I got that from a friend of mine, Aaron Roussel, who coaches at Richmond. If we look at the facts and the film, I think we're going to have to be talked about. I think we've done what we were supposed to do with non-conference scheduling, going on the road to some places, not being afraid to do that, not being afraid to challenge ourselves, knowing the league schedule that we had that was going to have LSU already on it twice. I'm not sure how many times we played South Carolina in this tournament, but it literally seems like every year we play them. So I'm glad they're in our league. I think a lot of my friends are like, man, that must stink. But I like that. I mean, I think that shows you if you can get in this thing, you got a chance to win it. So I hope she's right. She's got a powerful voice in our game, and I appreciate her saying that.
Go to the front.
Earlier you said that South Carolina is the best team in the country this year, but can you stack them across teams you've seen throughout your career?
Yeah.
How good is this team?
Any of the team, I've been in it for now. This is year 20. What year is this? 23. I've been in it 23 years. You've got to put them in the conversation with the great UConn teams. I didn't get to see the great Coach Summit teams, so I can't speak to those. But I would certainly put them in the same line. And I'd also compare them to that team they had when they won their other one. Their depth is demoralizing. You can do everything right, and they still get it. You're talking about the rebounding a minute ago and the shots. They won't say it up here, but they had a lot to do with our shots not going in. I mean, they don't want to feel like that, but as a coach, it's different when you got a hand right in your face when you catch it, not after you've already shot it. I don't think we took bad shots, and I think that's what Saylor was saying. But they make you miss, and they demoralize you on the board. Y'all saw the number of times we would be in the right spot. We just couldn't do anything about it. We'd make the right basketball play. Yeah, they would do what we told them to do. It just – I dare anybody in this room try to guard Cardoza. Anybody want a piece of that? That's what I thought. And then you got Boston. And I'm going to tell you this, Victoria Saxton has been an All-American against the Arkansas Razorbacks for 5 years. Go back and look her stats up. She's getting a graduation card from us because she has been an All-American. I just think their team is so – they're impossible to prepare for. They're impossible to scout. I don't care what anybody says. Aaliyah Boston is the most impactful player in college basketball. I mean, in 19 minutes to do what she did and the way she goes about it and the confidence she gives the other people that come in and the willingness to accept the role that she's taken all year long, I would put them in the conversation. As a big a ranker as I am for things like movies and music, I'm not really into ranking people, but their team has to be in the conversation with the good UConn teams that I've seen.
Over here on the right.
Kind of piggybacking off what Ethan said about the tournament, just talk about, having the same record in the SEC with the SEC being deeper and tougher this year.
Yeah.
Just talk about how impactful that is for your tournament chances.
I hope a lot. You got to look around what goes on in the rest of the league. Y'all know I follow it really, really closely and have historically. So I know it's going to be tight. And I think it's going to come down to little things. And I hope we've crossed, given enough evidence, given enough facts and film that we'll be in the conversation. Then whatever happens, happens. I was really proud of our group, the way they responded to it, that, we've done what we can do now. And regardless of which way it goes, if it's the NCAA tournament or the NIT tournament, let's use it as an opportunity to grow and learn. I do know this, at some point in time when it's all said and done, we're going to look back at some games along the way that will be valuable lesson learns for us and some things we did last summer. Coming out of COVID, we were all these kids were in different spots. And I will tell you, it was the least demanding I've ever been during the summer because of that. And as a result, we probably got a little bit of a late start. I do think we're peaking at the right time as a result of that. But at the end of that, we made some decisions that I'll look back at and never regret because I know where they were at mentally. But physically, there's going to be some games we regret. There's no question. Some one-point losses, some one-possession losses, some things maybe that we could have done differently. But I won't regret how we finished and how we've gone about doing it and staying concerned with their mental wellness as well as their physical wellness.
All right, on the front and left.
Mike Corey Diaz with the USA Today Network. What can you speak to about coaching a team that's quote-unquote on the NCAA tournament? What does it do to a potential coaching style? What does it do for the ladies on the team? How do you keep them from not even thinking about that?
Well, I think you explain it to them. I think if you try to hide it from them, it's when the problem happens, when there's not information and they don't know. There was a period of time our kids were walking around the building thinking that we had been eliminated from conference. They thought we were in next to last. And I've got these magnets up in my office, and one of the players came up and saw it, and they were like, "What is that?" And I showed it to them, and they were like, "I think the whole team needs to see this." In our league, it can do that to you. It's hard, but you know that when you sign up for it. You try to protect your kids as much as you can from not having too much information, but give them the right amount and explain to them what it is and what's important, so that there's not a regret at the end of it. And I think that's why they are saying that. If the regret is, it'll be something that we've done. It won't be something that the committee or that some other team did. It'll be something on us. And that's what I'm proud of them for. That's the growth that they've made. But it's not easy in this league. I mean, you look at how hard it is to go multiple years in a row, and that's why you got to respect what Dawn has done and the fact that Tennessee still hadn't missed one, right? They've been in every NCAA tournament ever. Isn't that right? That type of consistency is really, really hard to do. But there's a number of our teams that have, we've started at the bottom. We got here, we were picked last, and now to be talking about on the bubble. We did that in 2019 too, or was it 19 when we were in that debatable 8 thing. I would rather be in the talk than out of the talk. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of teams. If you're the 38th best at-large team, I'd rather be the 38th best than the 68th best. So I'm proud of where we are, and that our bottom now doesn't mean we're out of the conversation like it's been traditionally. So it's hard, but it's worth it.
We'll take two more. We'll start over here on the right.
Hey,
front
Coach, can you talk about like the schematics of facing a team like South Carolina that has a completely different style of play than y'all, and also how South Carolina can obliterate everything at the rim and drop defense?
Yeah. There are no really schematics. I mean, I can draw up some of the best plays that have worked historically for every team I've ever coached. They're not going to work when you try to throw it inside on those kids. It's a challenge to find a good shot. It really stresses you out, and you feel bad. I feel bad as a coach when our kids get their shot blocked or have to take a tough shot or they wind it down. But at the same time, when you have talented players that play hard and are well coached, that's what you run into, and that's what South Carolina's built. It's a good barometer for the rest of us to look at. But as far as scouting reports go, it's the easiest one to do because it's all based on personnel, and they're not going to beat you with tricks. They're going to beat you with just being better position by position across the board.
We'll take one more in the front.
I was hoping you could just speak to Saylor. I mean, not only what she put on tonight, but just what she's put on this whole season and her growth, and also just how young she is.
Yeah. We take it for granted, I think, because we got her last Christmas, and she is way mature. She's been in college for a while because she left her high school year early. You don't think of her as a typical freshman because of her maturity, but you know her in her family. She was brought up that way. The impact is hard to measure with stats. You have to be around us. You have to be at practice. You have to be on the plane. You have to be on the bus. But as far as impact freshmen, she gets up there at the top of my list with, Plum and Ari McDonald and going back to players, Sam last year being the SEC freshman of the year. She's in that conversation of all-time freshman-ready kids. I think you used her as a comparison to Mac. I think in her last couple of years, she'll be that voice. Mac started every game since she's been here. She had it as a freshman. Saylor's got a lot of those traits and qualities. But more importantly, she's got the desire to do it. She wants to be a leader. She's okay being held to a standard as a leader. When you're a leader, your standards are scrutinized pretty close, and she's going to be okay with that. But she's made a huge impact for us.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank you.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.